the #1 money maker, bigger than if you took crack and all the drugs and prostitution and child, where they're snatching children and bringing them in and selling them as sex slaves. Children, 2, 3, 4 years old. Put all that together. That's chump change compared to what organs make. Okay? And then when they found out that he said, I've been in the organ, just waiting for an organ for 2 years. Let me tell you something about organs. If I come to your house for a Christmas feast, and I'm your buddy, and I've been your buddy for a long time.
Right. Hold that thought right there, Greg, because we're going to take another break at the bottom there. I'll let you finish that story on the other side. Folks, you two can join our conversation with social activist Dick Gregory, discussing the Kendrick Johnson murder as it is. 800-450-7876, number to call, speak to Dick Gregory, or hit me up on Facebook or Twitter at carlnelsonshow.com. We'll take your calls in about 2.5 minutes. And thank you for staying with us, folks. I guess the social activist Dick Gregory talking about body parts, expansion of body parts. This used to be at one time, it was kind of unthinkable. But Dick Gregory started talking about it with the Atlanta child murders, and a lot of these children in Atlanta were missing. And this is what was going on back then. It seems like it sort of stepped up, and may have been what happened with Trayvon. Dick Gregory feels there's a strong indication that what happened to Kendrick Johnson, that's a young man in Valdosta, Georgia, was found wrapped up in this wrestling mat. And then the second, he actually was found killed in January of this year. So it's been a while. And his parents had another autopsy, independent coroner to check the body, exhumed, found that several of his organs, vital organs, were missing. This is where we are right now. Greg?
Yeah, but I'm laughing because I'm saying they didn't step up. It's people like you and these shows, social network, independent. There's 44,000 of these shows in America today. And people listen to them. And they listen to your show, and they listen to Derek Muhammad's show. And they have it. It's out here. What I was saying before we went on commercial is that I come to your house with my family for a holiday, and you got a brother who ain't no Muslim, who eats basic traditional American, and he can cook. So we coming by there, so you bringing your guests, and he's gonna treat us raw. So he's gonna buy a turkey, a goose, hen, everything. The people that's serious about eating, they would never buy meat at a grocery store. At a grocery store. Never buy meat at a grocery store. Why? Why would you buy meat at a grocery store? Why would I buy a turkey at a store that make more money selling bleach than turkey? Why would I buy a chicken at a store that make more money selling brooms and washing powder? Where you go where the right folks go, the good ones, the ones who ain't crazy. They go to the butcher shop. Why? If you my butcher and you sell me something wrong, you in trouble. You ain't got no bleach or bread to fall back on, or biscuits or frozen food. And so you go there and get, I'll be laughing at folks and say, well, you gonna make a trip across the country, just eat where the truckers eat. What makes you think a trucker know what a good piece of meat tastes like? Serious. And so I say this to say that when you think about what are we getting? He's getting fresh stuff. Now, if you need an organ transplant, and I think I remember when when were y'all celebrating the 40th anniversary of Front Page, which you invented?
Last year.
Last year. And I was out there, and it was big. It was incredible. And so I came in to do an interview, and you asked me when was I leaving. I said, I think I'll be here till Tuesday. So you said, you have, what's the guy's name that, can we all get along?
Rodney King.
Rodney King in on Monday. He said, why don't you come in and be I said, well, you better interview him quick, because he'll probably be dead by the end of the week. Did I tell you that?
You sure did.
And wasn't he dead by the end of the week?
Mm-hmm.
There's more to that stuff than you see. And all of that goes into organ stealing when the riot broke out.
And, you know, let me interrupt for a second. You know, there's still a lot of disparity about his death. That he drowned, and, you know, Rodney's folks are upset and want to know if it was his wife had something to do with it, but there was a lot of suspicion surrounding his death.
Yeah, well, you know, the neighbors say they heard people screaming like it was a fight. Are you aware of that?
Right, yeah, I heard that.
The neighbors said they heard that. And you know who the wife was, don't you?
No, who was the wife?
They weren't married, were they?
I think they were, because they were married. Yeah, they were officially married, yeah.
And won that $3 million settlement. Rodney?
Yeah.
Well, she was one of the jurors.
Oh, that's right, yeah, she was one of the jurors. You're right.
So where'd she come from? So anyway, when the riots broke out, after the cops was found not guilty, they arrested, hear this now, 18,213 black folks. They have not found 10,000 of them black folks that was arrested yet. And only one paper ran that story was the New York Times, the international edition. Now the organs ones. Did I show you the New York Times? Y'all can look it up. New York Times. They arrested so many white folks for organ stealing, they ran out of them trench coats. You know, they put them trench coats on, put them in the car. And I think it was 15 or 20 rabbis was mixed up in it. The whole international scheme all over the world. Now, all you got to do when the show is over, you have some time, punch up New York Times. 45 people arrested, rabbis, mayors, everybody out of the East Coast. And you will see this huge story that never ran in America other than on the East Coast. And now here's the difference. If I come by your house and you gonna fix me something to eat, you gonna get fresh stuff. Well, organs work the same way. The difference between an organ that's fresh, which means within the last 2 days, adds 20 years onto your life. All the folks that wait in line for the organs, get them unfresh organs, you got 20 years taken off your life. That's how big it is. And it's a booming business.
Well, let me ask you this, is there a reason why they want young black men, or young black boys, as we should say, organs?
The melanin. They know who you are. They know who you are. Well, let's go back to drive-by shootings, right? Drive-by shootings. If me and you are just some old thugs in the black community, and we driving by shooting black folks, okay? Then what kind of integrity do we have? We don't mind killing black folks, but 98% of the drive-bys are men, huh? How come girls ain't in there? Because girls are in some selfless now. And most of those projections of the bullets in them drive-by go down like they're being shot from rooftops. And that's where the money is, and that's why it's the boys. But now go back. If you think these black folks are just driving through the community, shooting black folks at random, how come women ain't getting shot? Women stand in bus lanes. Women stand in bus lanes. That young teenager that was in Washington, D.C. for the president's inauguration that was killed in Chicago.
Right.
Then they caught the guys, they said, but I lived in Chicago, I know how they'll beat you up and make you say anything. And here's what they said. Said we drove by, but wait a minute, that's the High Park Kenwood, that's University of Chicago. Ain't no drive-bys there, what y'all talking about? They said we drove by and we see this group standing in the bus lane. And and we circled around and got out the car and came back and shot him. Then why y'all calling it a drive-by? If they say they got out the car, why are you calling it a drive-by? Because everybody on the planet then got used to hearing drive-by. They weren't driving, so why was it called drive-by? And so what happens is if you, my son, and you murdered tonight, and somebody called the house and tell me and my wife don't have jurisdiction over your body. That's the coroner. Okay? We had nothing to do with that body until that body is released. Well, how many people going through the tragedy that their son has just been murdered in a drive-by shooting? And to add insults, he wasn't at a party, he wasn't drinking and fighting. Somebody just came by and murdered him. With all of that trauma and all of that stuff going through you, who would ever think to have the body checked to see if the organs is there? Y'all better start doing that.
Well, let me ask you this, because when we were close on the break. So if that's the case, and a lot of these, not just the coroners, but these funeral guys who prepare the bodies, they got to be in collusion. They've got to know this.
Wait. Let's listen to this. Let's say me and you.
Actually, hang on a second, because we got to take a break, and I'll let you respond on the other side. Because a lot of these funeral guys who prepare the bodies, they've got to know this when they're preparing the bodies of these organs. And they say, why haven't they come forward? 800-450-7876. I'll let Dick Gregory respond to that on the other side. And we'll also take your phone calls in about 2.5 minutes. The funeral home folks who prep the body for burial, they should be in cahoots. Why wouldn't they tell the parents that, some of your sons or your beloved's organs are missing? So how do you address that one, Greg?
Here's how a lot of them do it. Let's say you and I are undertakers. We've been undertakers for 50 years, right? Then all at once you got the top corner, and then they talking to you. You gonna pick up the body, and they tell you to come here and look at the body. And we saved you a lot of money, okay? Then you put this together. Look how beautiful it is. You don't have to do nothing. You get a lot of them do that. Without a body, I don't have to do nothing on. They already dressed it. It's like dressing a turkey. Okay? There's a lot of them do that. And I'm saying, Jesus, I'm going to get the insurance money from this here, and all my work is done. And then you have a lot of other people that are in cahoots. They have you're undertaker, you old, and they send somebody in to work for you as an assistant. And you don't suspect nothing. And so they got a whole lot. And then the other one is just downright conspiracy. You pick up the phone sometimes. See, well, Grandma was out there selling dope. And so that's how they do. When you get an industry this big, there is no money ever been made in the history of the planet that's made on organ stealing. Who would ever think you'd come up with the industry and make more money than prostitutes? And I'm shocked that the little child prostitutes make more money than adult prostitutes. I mean, that thing is so tight. You got people that do all kinds of corrupt things for money. And then you got some do it because they scared. You got a whole lot of people, white folks, can come by and scare them. They say, this is what you do, and you better not, and so that's what it's about. But some kind of way, more and more and more. Here's why the hospitals, man, UCLA, have been sued about organs. Huh? Because after I steal them and flush them all up, then they go legitimate to the hospitals. I went to the bank today and pulled some money out. How much money? That was drug money. Huh? I mean, I wouldn't take no drug money from a drug dealer, but they laundry that money into the bank. So I'm not aware of it. I know drug money go through the bank. So when you go to the hospital and get an organ or get this or that, you're not aware that those organs were some junction that was blown away. I mean, the one thing I said when Cheney got his new heart, my line was, I went to work that night and I saw Cheney coming across the street. He had a heart transplant that night. And he said, Dick Gregory, are you working at the club tonight? I said, yeah. He said, I'm Dick Cheney, I want to go see you. I said, you want to see me? Why? He said, oh, you know I had to change your heart. No, it's me, man.
And you know, there was a rumor going around that he had Trayvon's heart. I don't know if you heard that one.
I hope I was the one to put that out there.
Yeah, there was talk in the street about that. And he probably got Trayvon's heart. But it is a big business because in Detroit too, there's a big story about in Detroit Free Press about police and the FBI working on a plan that somebody out there was stealing organs and sort of burying them in a backyard.
Yeah, well, you're a little young. But back in the old days, there was movies called The Body Snatcher. Remember that?
I remember that.
You think they just started doing it? Cadavers, man. I used to hear the old folks talk about these hospitals that have people, if you look old and sick and weakly, they would, because back then, the only way you could be a doctor is how many cadavers you'd open up. Well, sometimes the guys would get shot. So they go find some old, crepity person who look like they got TB and that's what they use in their hair, or they're going to die anyway. And that's where they come, the body snatcher. Huh? The grave robber. Remember all those?
And going back, and since we're going back in history, Wayne Williams, you say that he was not guilty of killing those children in Atlanta. What made you say that?
If he killed them, my mama killed him, okay? Here's what. Here's how they caught him, right? They said he parked his car on the bridge, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the bodies had been found in the water. So they had a trap under the bridge, waiting, and they heard the bodies splash. And that's when they wired up, whoever's on the bridge, go get him, right? He gets busted. So when we go down there and investigate it, the one problem is, where they found the body, the river was running against that. So that body had to buck the current of the water and buck against it. The current was running to the right, okay, and he was thrown in on the left, and the body ended up on the other side. All that was, and then we went in and looked at stuff. I with the mothers, I wanted to ask the Center for Disease Control. They had started investigating the boys. So I said, well, now you're investigating the boys, then this is the question I asked them. There's nothing in your charter to give you the authority to investigate murders. Not the Center for Disease Control. Why were you investigating it? And here's where she slipped. And she said, well, we just wanted to see if it was going to be a pattern. How did you know it was going to be a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one? See the difference? Mm-hmm. How did you know? Just like when you see those folks, when King was shot, you see them folks standing up, he's on the ground, and they pointing. The question is, how'd y'all know it wasn't going to be another bullet? Do you think there's some ignorant, red-neck crackers? What makes you think they wasn't going to take all of y'all out? Why were you all still standing, pointing, when we know the bullet came from down on the ground? And so it's that thing. So that's where they really goofed up. Then the other thing is, it was only men. There'd been a girl that was found dead named Angel. And so I asked them, well, how come you now here's when when I brought up the fact that they hadn't done no women, it was after that Angel comes up there. Out of all them boys that been killed before that, they had never investigated when a woman was killed. And so that's what we knew it was a man thing. And what they told us then, that in interviewing the parents, and they said they looked like they had aged about 80 years. And now black folks, they saw all these aggravation around the testicles, so they just thought it was that same old castration stuff. That's what we was born in. No, it was needles. And what they was doing, they was getting a thing I call interferon that sells for $19 billion a pint. Yeah, I got some cousins that participate in that. And what it is like, let's say you have enough money. Your mother gives you enough money in college to go the whole year. But you start taking more out and more out and more out than you're supposed to, you're going to run out. Well, that's what was happening with them. They was taking so much out at one time, the body started aging. And then I met a guy, just accidentally, that wanted to buy a product of mine. And he gave me a check for $8 million. And I said, where did this money come from? And I swear I didn't mean to say that. He said, do it make any difference? And I said, yes, which I didn't mean to. And he said, well, we work with all the East Coast hospitals, and we supply the legal drugs. You know, everybody talk about cocaine. Well, what you think Novocaine and Wolfocane is? Those are derivatives of it. And I said, you know, I don't remember nothing, but I don't forget nothing. And I said, I read where this company is under investigation by the government for they found $8 million worth of illegal cocaine. And I said, this $8 million where it comes. And then we found out it wasn't them. But that's why I found out that they wanted me to do a product that they could use. And then I got away from it. But that's why I found out about interferon and all of that. And it comes out of the male penis. Now, quickly before you run, they was doing this in the 60s. For you young folks, it'd be a jail ride every other week. And they was taking it out in black men in jail, and they said they died in the ride. But what they found out, black men had lived such a rough life, the quality of interferon they was getting wasn't up to par. And that's when they realized they couldn't get it out the jails.